Alright, oh, this is part 2 of my review on Shine Time Station, and if you haven't watched part 1 yet, then you better, because none of this is probably going to make any sense. So yeah, anyways, continuing to where we left off on the season 1 finale of Shine Time Station, where Sandy Claus, aka Mr. Nicholas, leaves and kidnaps Ringo Starr, Mr. Conductor, in the process. I'm just kidding. No, he decides to leave. So they're gone, and now we're on to season 2, which is a Halloween episode. The first episode of season 2 was a Halloween episode. So yeah, they waited a whole okay, not a whole year, but an almost whole year to do season 2 and have a Halloween episode. I'll forget it. Okay, so this Halloween episode, Matt and Tanya write letters out loud without moving their lips at the beginning of the episode, explaining what happened. So Harry is gone. I'm just gonna make a prediction that he went back to Sesame Street, and now there's this guy called Billy. I wish I had a win really Billy here. There's this guy called Billy Two Feathers who is working the workshop at Shine Time Station now, and British Mr. Conductor. Apparently, he has an American cousin. Yeah, he has an American cousin, also called Mr. Conductor, or as I like to call him, foul mouth American Mr. Conductor. So, yeah, I honestly don't know. No, I shouldn't have said it. I don't know how these two Mr. Conductors, who are not the same person, are related. I mean, they're cousins, but, the reason why it doesn't make a whole lot of sense is because Ringo Starr, Mr. Conductor, was British, and George Carlin, Mr. Conductor, is American. How can your cousin be British and American at the same time? Maybe I just don't know how this family works. Okay, so yeah. Foul-mouthed comedian Mr. Conductor comes in, and who is playing Schemer? All right, Schemer is still Schemer. Oh wait, Edward was Tanya. Good golly. All right, so yeah. Anyways, now Matt and Tanya are not the main characters of Shine Time Station anymore because their actors started to get older, so they replaced them with 3 other scrubs. So, we got Tanya's, cousin, I believe? Yeah, cousin, and also the granddaughter. I don't think I said that before. Tanya is the granddaughter of Harry, and there's this chick called, what was her name? Now I remember. So, there's this chick who now plays a character in Steven Universe called Kara, and she's also the granddaughter of Harry, but these two are cousins, I believe. So, yeah. Kara's going to become a main character now, and then there's the cousin of Matt, and also the nephew of Stacey Jones, also called Dan. And unfortunately, his actor also passed away. Rest in peace. He was my favorite character in Shine Time Station. Anyways, so yeah, rest in peace to the actor who played Dan. And there's also a new chick. I gotta stop using James. Called Becky. She's not related to anyone in the show. She's just best friends with Kara and Dan and stuff like that. So, these two see George Carlin at some point, and he tries to hide away, like, oh no, you've seen me say the 13 bad words that you're not allowed to say. And then they're like, oh, don't worry, our cousins talked about how you talk about trains. And, he tells him a story about how Thomas peed his pants from getting scared by Percy, and I'm using Thomas and Percy right now. What is this world coming to? Okay, yeah. So, he tells him a story about Ghost Train. They know who Mr. Conductor is. They're friends now. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, crap. I just remembered. there's also another set of characters in the Shine Time Station. While they're not technically, I mean, I guess they're main characters, but they don't really do anything to the plot. They're kind of just their own people. They're called the Jukebox Band. They're tiny puppets that live inside of a jukebox. So there's I can't exactly remember all their names, but I'll try. So let me get to those guys real quick. So there's this one dude called Tito who has an obsession with Nichols just as much as Schemer, and he's played by Jafar himself. I'm not lying! Tito is played by Jafar's voice actor in Shine Time Station. The original Jafar, not the live action Jafar. Anyways, there's these two set of twins called, their names, Rex and, Tex? Yeah, those are their names. Then there's this I was about to call her something else. There's this chick who has her eyes covered by her hair called Dee Dee, I think. And the one brown chick whose name's Grace. These five don't really do anything. They usually just play music in like every single bloody episode of the show, and that's kind of like the only parts of the show that I skip through. Yeah, so got those characters out of the way. Let's get on to the rest of season 2, episode 1. So, Becky gets introduced like later on in the episode, and I don't know. Mr. Conductor tells these guys another story, but Becky doesn't know of Mr. Conductor's existence yet. And blah, 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 blah. So, yeah. We also get an introduction to Billy Two Feathers. And, yeah. They're friends now. Okay. Season 2, episode 1 is over. Alright, so the rest of the episodes are pretty much the same. Then in the third episode of season 2 is when Becky finally gets introduced to Mr. Conductor. And she's like, whoa, what did I sniff? Yeah, so now Becky knows of Mr. Conductor's existence. And yeah, so, that's all the characters in the show. Well, all of the main characters. There's also side characters like J.B. King, who is kind of a prick, but he's also funny because he knows of Mr. Conductor's existence but never gets to see him. So yeah, J.B. King, he's funny. There's also other characters. I can't exactly remember all their names. There's this one old chick called Midge Smooch. I don't know. All I know is her name's Midge. Some other elderly lady. There's a Spanish dude. He's cool. Okay, I can't remember all of the side characters' names, but they're there. So yeah. What should I do next? Season 3, I guess. Season 3, Tanya and Matt don't appear at all. So they completely abandoned Shine Time Station. They only made guest star appearances in season 2, and afterwards they died. That's not funny. Yeah. So season 3, it's basically the same like season 2. Kids do something wacky, and there's a moral, there's a story, a Thomas story, one Thomas story now, and Mr. Conductor is there. So yeah. Speaking of Mr. Conductor, I would like to go on to my favorite episode of the show, spoiler alert, Mr. Conductor's Evil Twin, which is actually a sequel, well, kind of like a sequel, to the season 2 episode, which I completely skipped, Double Trouble. I think that's what that episode was called. Yeah, that episode, Kara, Dan, and Becky, they they make a picture of Mr. Conductor, then they steal some of Mr. C's gold dust, put it on the picture, and then he becomes alive, and then he legit just... He's basically Mr. Conductor, except he's evil, duh, and he says nothing but rhymes. Like, almost every sentence that this guy says are all in rhymes. I'm starting to wonder if Sharon Miller got inspiration from Mr. Conductor's evil twin. Yeah, he causes trouble, but by the end, they realize who the real Mr. Conductor is, and a real Mr. Conductor outsmarts the clone, and yeah. Season 3, Kara's all by herself in this episode. She needs help with cleaning up paper, and so she decides to steal Mr. Conductor's gold dust and put it on the blooming picture to bring it back to life, not assuming that will cause trouble whatsoever. So he does so, but then he decides to do some other stuff, like release a giant nickel on Schemer, which causes him to have a mental attack, and also causes Tito to go crazy as well. And he smashes chocolate into green spinach, and he makes a prank phone call. He makes a prank phone call to Stacey Jones as JB King, and he's like, "Leaky Park, it's leaking. It's there, and I'm speaking. You and Millie go faster than fast. Hurry, or the station will." Oh my god. Yeah. You should just watch the episode for yourself. I shouldn't be explaining it to you, especially in this condition. Oh god. Ugh. But so you should probably just guess. Thomas Story, the real Mr. Conductor, stops the clone. The end. Yeah. So that was Shine Time Station in the nutshell. I talked about the characters. I talked about some of the episodes. It was fun. Okay, now that that's out of the way, let's talk about the stuff that I liked about Shine Time Station. What isn't there to like? I mean, the show is really enjoyable. The actors are really good at portraying their characters. The characters themselves in the show are really enjoyable to watch. And, the music's really good, too. I adore the theme song to Shine Time Station. I'm spinning my head like a top right now. I wish you could see it. Oh god, that wasn't a good idea. Oh, yeah. Okay, let's just say I like a lot of stuff about the show, the story, the characters, the actors, blah 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 blah, music. Stuff that I didn't like. Can't really think of that much stuff that I didn't like. Well, I guess they're kind of just like minor nitpicks. I'm trying to think of something that I didn't like in the show. It's gonna take me a while. Something that I didn't like out of the show, which big shot, was Schemer. Now, not saying that I don't like Schemer. No, Schemer's a fun character, but sometimes he irritates me. Yeah, and the songs that good god. And the songs that are sung by the Jukebox Band, I mean, while I'm pretty sure that they're better singers than me times a million, I said before, those are the parts of the episodes that I usually skip, because, I don't really feel interested in them. And sometimes those magic bubble scenes where Mr. Conductor has like a magic bubble and it shows some kind of clip show of something. I don't know, wasn't really interested in those too. I skipped those as well as music videos and those like wormholes or whatever. I'm just thinking of stuff at the top of my head. Those were some of the only stuff I didn't like. Another thing that I didn't like was how Kara and Becky acted in this one episode, season 3, I think, called Dance Crazy, where they were being sexist to Dan. I mean, I guess it would be considered sexist, but, they were being pricks to Dan that episode. Then later on, Kara was being a prick to Becky, and yeah, I didn't like them in that episode. Gonna have to do a part 3 to this. Yay.